me? Yeah, what? Can you show me that NA perm again? Sure. It looks like this. How am I meant to memorize that? Relax, just look at this. Algorithms can really look like a bunch of random letters, just like that NA perm. But here are some tips to make you memorize algorithms faster. The first concept today, and this is what I'll be doing for this video, is triggers. So what is a trigger? So trigger is basically a sequence of 3, 4, maybe even 5 moves that can help you memorize algorithms faster. So maybe you have this as one trigger, or you have this as one trigger, or this, that's called the sexy move, you are inverted, you up inverted, or sledgehammer, which is arm inverted front, or reverse sledgehammer, or inverse seconds up. That's basically what this video is going to be covering today. Take for example this J perm. It might look like a bunch of mess, but by breaking it up into triggers, you can actually memorize this a lot quicker. So how I memorize this is if I break it up into that, then this, then this, then that. So the first thing I noticed was the first trigger, which is this bit. Then I did the second trigger, which is that. So that's basically some common trigger that I know, and this sexy move. And then I just did this. That's how I memorized it. And basically, if you know triggers, then they can really make learning other algorithms easier. For example, the T perm, you just need to move this set of 4 moves all the way to here. So if you do that, it becomes, that's the sexy move, and then this, then this, then this, and there's the T permutation. Here's another algorithm, which is the Y permutation. So it starts with F, or front, and then it goes, it's like a sexy move, but the second move is up inverted, not up. So then that I inverted F inverted from the J perm. And then it's just sexy move, then sledgehammer. And that's the Y permutation. For this soon algorithm, I memorized it like this. So it's like sexy move, but instead of, so you do the first 3 moves as normal, but instead of doing up inverted, you do up. Then you do you do up. That's a very common trigger you see as well. And anti-soon is basically just the opposite of that. The reverse, so this, and then for cases such as this OLO, the algorithm might look very weird, but usually there's some sort of pattern to it, or maybe some triggers you can break up. So basically, sometimes you have to memorize certain bits. Just like the Y perm, we cannot put that first move into any of the triggers, so we can just memorize that. Same with this OLO, so we can just memorize the first R2D like that. And then it's basically like the U2 R inverted, but it's kind of the opposite. So you start with R inverted U2, then D inverted, and then you just do basically U2, but all R primes going down. So old scale would look like this, and yeah. So the thing about this, especially for OLO, is some of the algorithms are really similar to each other. So for this OLO algorithm, it goes like this. Now, it might seem like nonsense, like what is the algorithm? But if you look carefully, if you just remove the wide moves, you can just see it soon. So it's basically a soon, but the first and last moves are wide moves. this OLO, it goes like this. So basically, it looks like a weird algorithm, but if you break up this bit, you actually memorize it easily. And I did that wrong, but I think you get the point. Even the simplest of algorithms like this OLO can be broken up into triggers like this. So it's just F, inverse sexy, and then F, and then undo the F move. And basically, if you do that, and then if you do the reverse, you get this OLO, which is F sexy prime. Sometimes if you really know your algorithms, then memorizing other algorithms will be really easy. For this OLO, I don't know what it's called, and just looking at the algorithm, it just looks like a bunch of letters. But if I put brackets here, then you can see the first part is just soon. And the second part is this OLO. So sometimes you can break up algorithms into other algorithms. For this OLO, where we have this guy square in the corner and this pattern. Now, looking at the algorithm, you might not be able to break it up so well. But, okay, we can see this. But this bit is a bit hard to break up. But we can imagine this R2 right here as just doing R inverted, R inverted. Now, if we just rewrite this algorithm, and then you can see we can break this up into triggers we already know. R inverted, and then sledgehammer. Now this works because this is, if we do this, which is the first trigger, then as we do this last move, the first move of the sledgehammer is the same as the last move in this. So we can actually just go straight down into sledgehammer and do our last trigger. So what about this monstrosity, which is this NA perm? Now, as I mentioned in the start of the video, it does look like a nightmare if you have no idea what triggers are. But this is like the OLO I showed, where knowing algorithms can really make some algorithms learning a lot easier. If we just cut off here and here, you'll see why I'll do that in a second. Then we can see that this is just a J-perm. And then we have a couple setup moves, and then that's actually just one of the triggers we already know from the soon. And then at the end we can just undo the setup moves. Now the reason why I split up U2 is just like our last example, we can do this. So basically the last algorithm of the J-perm, which is this, is the same as the last move in undoing the setup move. So in an algorithm, you never write that. Up 2 is just written to make it efficient, writing the algorithm. But you can think about like this. This, setup moves, then do a J-perm. And then you can undo the setup. And then you can really memorize this algorithm faster. So basically, but as you get to the end of the J-perm, you can just use it like that, and then it makes some finger tricks a lot better. But that's for another time. Another way you can think about using this idea is with the F-perm, which is this algorithm. Now, obviously, it just looks like a bunch of letters, but for the same reason as this, we can do this and this. So, if you look at that, so then we have a couple setup moves and then a T permutation and then undoing the setup moves. Let's do that. And if we do the T permutation, actually there's one more thing we have to point out. If we do the end of the T permutation and then undo the setup moves, you'll see I haven't written that move there, because actually if I write everything out, but let's write the first and last moves of this. You can see we have front then front inverted, but doing that basically does nothing. So basically we can cancel out the setup move and the T perm. So as we get to the end, in the normal T perm we would usually do this, but the first move of undoing the setup moves is this. So actually we don't need to do anything, and we can just do the last two moves. Like that. The E permutation, you swap these two corners. Now it's IU and D moves, so this layer, and this layer. And you might not be able to swap pattern, but what if you broke it into 4 chunks of 4? Oops. If you did that and analyzed it real quick, you can actually kind of split it in half. Like this, and then you might be able to see something. This half, when you do the U and D moves, they go in the same way. So we should do the first half. Watch closely at this layer turning and this layer turning. If you saw it carefully, they actually went the same way. They first went this way, and then they went this way. And if I do the second half, it might be easier to see on here, but in the first time they were both going clockwise. Second time, both anti-clockwise. So yeah, that's how you can make some reasonably random algorithm go well. And there's a little rotation at the start. For this V-perm, which I think everyone knows now that I've done it, you could do it like this, which involves a rotation, but that is just pesky. So I memorized it like this. Now, just like any other algorithm, it just looks like a string of random letters, and no, I agree. But this is how I memorized it. Firstly, you can see there's this bit. I don't think most people realize this, but I tend to recognize this. Now, basically, this is kind of a commutator, which I don't think many people know, but that's just what I want to point out. Basically, the first 2 moves, then you reverse the two moves. This is how I memorized. It might not be perfect for you, but this is just how I did. Now, the second thing I realized is this bit, which is just R2 than this. I should probably do it. Okay, I'll do the algorithm later. Then this is an interesting bit. If you look at it, this is what these moves look like. You can't do them at the same time. It's a really cool thing. And then we kind of have this bit, which I kind of memorize. It starts off just like this U-perm, which you could go like this. Yeah, it starts like that. And it goes like this through a full algorithm. Yeah, that's just how it starts. So basically, that's how I memorize it, and it's a very obnoxious way sometimes, but it works for me, and if something else works for you, then you can do it. In general, you just have to be creative of how you can memorize these triggers. Not every algorithm can be broken up into triggers perfectly, and when I say perfectly, I mean there are no pieces left, like no moves that aren't part of a trigger, but triggers are kind of a one step up. Now, I will be having a video coming soon showing you how to visualize algorithms, but that's for another time. Alright, see you next time.